We're in the WNBA finals. And so I'll leave it there. I mean, I'm just obviously disheartened. I'm a human too. I have a family. I have 2 kids who are devastated by these comments. And so all I'll say is just, it's obviously been a tough week.
Everyone expected Caitlin Clark to take it on the chin, smile for the cameras, and wait her turn. They thought she'd be grateful to just be in the building, happy to sit at the end of the bench and learn from the legends. But the WNBA may have pushed their biggest star too far, and now the consequences are rolling in. Reports suggest Clark has drawn a line in the sand, allegedly telling insiders she is done with Team USA. And it wasn't just players. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert may have unintentionally confirmed the toxic environment that led to this decision. What began as a rookie's snub has escalated into a potential upheaval for the league. It started with what many are calling the biggest roster mistake in sports history. When the Team USA squad for Paris was announced, the league's rising star was missing. The selection committee cited experience and team chemistry, claiming Clark hadn't paid her dues yet. But the decision felt personal. While fans tuned in for her highlights, the powers that be benched her before she even played. It was a loud, undeniable message. You may be famous and talented, but you aren't one of us yet. The snub was just the beginning. Once the WNBA season tipped off, Clark faced relentless physical targeting. From blindside hip checks, like the infamous Kennedy Carter incident, to constant shoves and face guarding, she endured what went far beyond normal competitiveness. The real issue wasn't just players. The league office largely looked the other way. Fouls were not upgraded to flagrants until public outrage grew, and the narrative spun out of control. The tipping point came when Commissioner Engelbert compared the toxicity directed at Clark to the Magic Johnson-Larry Bird rivalry of the 80s in a CNBC interview. Her comments, focused on marketing valuation rather than condemning harassment, essentially validated Clark's feelings of isolation. The league prioritized drama and dollars over the mental well-being of its star player. The backlash was swift. The WNBA Players Association distanced themselves from Engelbert's remarks, and players like Breanna Stewart and Nafisa Collier publicly condemned hate in the sport. Clark's situation reflects long-standing resentment from the old guard of Team USA. For years, the squad has been a closed circle dominated by the same legends. Rumors circulated that veteran players didn't want Clark disrupting their chemistry or the spotlight. Diana Taurasi famously warned her that reality is coming. Yet Clark broke rookie records and led the league in assists. By freezing her out of the Olympics, the veterans protected their legacy and locker room sanctity, but alienated new fans and damaged public perception. Insiders suggest Clark is taking control of her brand. After being benched by Team USA, targeted on the court, and unsupported by the commissioner, she is allegedly distancing herself from the national program. She drives ratings, jersey sales, and ticket revenue. If Team USA doesn't want her, she doesn't need them. Her rumored decision to decline future invitationals would be a power move with major implications. The league could lose its biggest marketing asset for the next 4 years leading up to the Los Angeles Olympics. The financial impact is clear. Before Clark, the WNBA struggled with attendance and profitability. Since her arrival, attendance is up over 40%. TV ratings have tripled, and the league signed a historic media rights deal worth over $2 billion. Veterans in the league have benefited from her popularity while treating her like an outsider. If she focuses solely on the Indiana Fever, Team USA would rely on the old guard, whose presence doesn't move the needle the same way. The commissioner's handling of social media toxicity, racism, misogyny, and threats has compounded the issue. Engelbert's comparisons to NBA rivalries ignored the unprecedented nature of Clark's experience and suggested league complicity. Clark endured all this silently and professionally, but the lack of support felt like betrayal. The chemistry excuse for excluding her from Team USA crumbled under scrutiny. Clark had already proven she could integrate seamlessly, as shown in the WNBA All-Star Game where her team dominated Team USA. The argument wasn't basketball-related, it was ego-driven. Cheryl Swoops, a WNBA legend, has publicly criticized Clark and yet continues to work for the league. Another sign of disrespect and a toxic work environment. In any other profession, repeated public attempts to undermine an employee would trigger HR action. In the WNBA, it's treated as content. Clark's camp has been silent, suggesting serious behind-the-scenes discussions. She recognizes her leverage. She doesn't need the Olympics to build her brand, but the Olympics need her for relevance. She endured the season's physical toll, the most minutes, hits, and double teaming, without league protection. Her decision is akin to load management on an international scale, prioritizing health and mental well-being over a gold medal she wasn't fully welcome to earn. Fan reaction has been polarized. OG WNBA fans see Clark as overhyped, while new fans view her as mistreated. The commissioner's comments widen this divide instead of bridging it. If Clark quits Team USA, these fans may follow her. The ratings for the Olympics were strong, but her absence in 2028 could be catastrophic. The Clark-Reese rivalry, born in college and carried into the pros, is another flashpoint. Fans and players crossed lines, but Clark has consistently refused to engage, demonstrating professionalism in the face of harassment. The implications for 2028 are enormous. Los Angeles is set to showcase women's sports, but the WNBA cannot achieve that without its most famous female athlete. Without Clark, Team USA remains talented but lacks cultural and celebrity significance. The commissioner recognizes this, creating urgency. Financial stakes are high. WNBA players are negotiating a new collective bargaining agreement, seeking higher pay and better benefits. They rely on the revenue growth Clark generated. If she distances herself from the league, that leverage could vanish. The veterans wanted the perks without embracing the phenomenon responsible for them. Clark's dream of playing for Team USA, a dream shared with idols like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi, has been compromised. The system rejected her, showing the harsh side of professional sports, jealousy, politics, and gatekeeping. Her disappointment, rather than anger, may resonate most with fans. The Olympic benching wasn't just about playing time, it was about influence. The system proved it could win without her, but failed to capture the moment she represents, the future of the sport. The ball is now in the commissioner's court. Engelbert must apologize sincerely, demonstrate that the league values Clark's safety and dignity, and shift from manufacturing rivalries to supporting its star. Clark has the resources to build her own empire, camps, leagues, media, but the WNBA needs her to remain relevant. The league may have had a golden ticket and through missteps and mismanagement, risks losing it. The next months will be critical. Will there be reconciliation, or will the divide deepen? Caitlin Clark is no longer just a rookie. She is a business, a brand, and a force of nature. She knows her worth, and the commissioner's tone-deaf comments were the final straw. The WNBA may have won in Paris, but it risks losing its golden goose. The league prioritized veteran comfort over rookie potential, and now it might have to watch the revolution happen without them.
Asia Wilson has definitely been in the headlines these last couple weeks, man, in regards to Caitlin Clark news.
Fresh off the WNBA season, Caitlin Clark wasted no time landing a headline-grabbing, legacy-building off-season deal that's shaking the league. and leaving Aja Wilson feeling the heat as the spotlight swings back to Clark.
And it looked like Caitlin Clark has landed her first speaking gig of the offseason. Aja Wilson found herself in a situation involving Caitlin Clark again.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark's latest move isn't just business. It's a six-figure power play that's turning heads across a league mired in pay disputes and leadership drama, as she racks up corporate speaking gigs that make even the commissioner's paycheck look like pocket change.
Last offseason was Caitlin Clark $100,000 an hour speaking gigs. Well, I'm here to tell you she is not taking long getting back to work, raking in the cash because she has landed.
Caitlin Clark is reportedly earning $100,000 for every appearance she makes at Fortune 500 events. A figure that underscores just how much her influence extends beyond the court. Even in the off-season, she doesn't take a break. She continues to dominate, turning every stage she steps on into a showcase of power, strategy, and unrivaled personal brand.
She's landing $100K to speak to speak for companies and represent companies all over the country. She's not hurting for cash, and I just think this is just the coolest thing ever.
Caitlin Clark will headline the Long Island Association's Elite Fall Conference, getting paid to share her story with executives who strike million-dollar deals before lunch. She'll step onto the stage as the event's marquee draw, turning her on-court fame into a platform that captivates a room full of top-tier business leaders.
But look like Caitlin Clark is headed to Long Island Association, bro. So it stated Long Island Association joined the Long Island Association's president and CEO, Matt Cohen, moderates a special conversation with Caitlin Clark discussing her record-breaking performances, impact, and cultural influence on October the 29th. At 10:30 to 12:30 in New York.
Caitlin Clark can earn in an hour what most WNBA players make all season, effortlessly building a second career while the league fiddles with travel upgrades. With every high-profile appearance, she cements her brand and financial independence, showing that her influence extends far beyond the court.
Aja Wilson is currently back in the headlines after news surfaced. She's charging $100,000 for speaking events. She's talking about, she's charging $100K for speaking events, and fans is like, Shrek? Since when? And you only doing this because of Caitlin.
Players like Aja Wilson feel the sting as Caitlin Clark, in just one season, outshines and out-earns them, flipping the WNBA's hierarchy overnight. Her meteoric rise rewrites expectations, turning the league's traditional pecking order on its head and leaving peers scrambling to keep up.
Aja Wilson is the queen of the delusion. She's absolutely the queen of the delusion.
When Caitlin Clark's brand outgrows the league, power shifts, sponsors, media, and high-profile speaking fees follow her, not the WNBA. While she builds her empire, veterans like Aja Wilson can only watch, envy streaming through social media.
That's crazy because literally nobody asked, and sources close to Aja Wilson decided to answer anyway.
This story isn't just about paychecks, it's about control. As Caitlin Clark builds her platform while the WNBA flounders in chaos. Every speaking fee she cashes proves she doesn't need the league's infrastructure to wield real power. She outgrows it.
Throughout the year, WNBA players were demanding to be given credit for elevating the league. Angel Reese claimed that along with their pretend friends in the mainstream media, they wanted us to believe that the WNBA was exploding in popularity. They wanted to keep all the credit for themselves while downplaying the impact of the only star in the league, Caitlin Clark.
Corporations understand Caitlin Clark's value better than the WNBA ever will, seeing her not just as a player, but as a global brand whose fan base, international reach, and charisma make her the face of women's sports. And that's why her Long Island speaking event signals that the corporate world values her more than the league, as six-figure payments prove, while she quietly builds independence, wealth, and influence while others, like Aja Wilson, fume online. And as the WNBA panics, Clark turns the offseason into her own business empire, out-earning and outmaneuvering the league, while her peers argue over contracts, proving that her presence alone drives ratings and sponsorships, showing the blueprint for generational wealth and independence, bypassing player-run leagues like Unrivaled because she doesn't need them, while the league watches helplessly as she negotiates speaking fees, signs deals, and trends online, all outside their control, turning appearances into statements of dominance, timing her Long Island event just before the CBA expiration to highlight the irony of chaos in contrast to her control, defining her own worth and leverage regardless of lockouts, maintaining professionalism that shields her from criticism while eclipsing rivals, and proving that her brand now transcends the league itself, leaving the WNBA vulnerable if she ever chose not to return. And throughout it all, Caitlin Clark moves silently and strategically, turning every opportunity into a masterclass on success, showing that the spotlight no longer needs the WNBA to follow her, and that when she steps onto that stage, everyone sees not just an athlete, but a phenomenon, while A'ja Wilson watches from the sidelines, wondering how it feels to be second in her own league. And yet, the bigger question lingers. How long can this imbalance last before the WNBA is forced to reckon with it, or before other players decide to emulate Clark's path and forge their own independent empires? Every sponsorship she signs, every speaking engagement she nails, and every viral highlight she creates becomes a ripple through the league, raising stakes for both players and executives, while reshaping the very idea of what it means to be a professional athlete in women's sports. As Clark continues to navigate this uncharted territory, the conversation shifts from points and assists to influence, autonomy, and legacy, leaving fans, sponsors, and even her peers wondering whether the league can ever reclaim the narrative, or if Clark has simply rewritten the rules, leaving the next move entirely up to her. With each calculated appearance and deal, the air grows heavier with anticipation. Who will step up, who will follow, and who will be left defining themselves in a shadow that Clark has cast so deliberately, so widely, and so inevitably?
Caitlin Clark officially done for the 2025 WNBA season, as she and the Fever announced on social media. The Fever and Clark saying that she tried to get back on the floor. It appears that she just ran out of time, not able to get enough confidence back in her body as the season wraps up and the playoffs are likely about to begin for Indiana.
Caitlin Clark is done for the season, and it's not just her loss. It's the WNBA's nightmare. Fans got strung along with cryptic updates, ticket sales spiked on the hope of her return, and now refunds are flooding in. How did the league's golden goose wind up sidelined by what feels more like mismanagement than misfortune? And why did the Fever and WNBA keep selling optimism while Clark's body was clearly breaking down?
Caitlin Clark out for the remainder of the 2025 season, something we all think we knew was coming after what Stephanie White said earlier today. We couldn't be too sure until we see it for ourselves. And with this announcement from the GOAT's mouth herself, Caitlin Clark won't be returning this season, nor if the Indiana Fever make the playoffs.
Clark's sophomore season unraveled almost immediately, morphing into an injury saga no one wanted to face. The timeline now looks damning. May brought quad tightness, then a left quad strain just 4 games in. By June, a groin strain joined the list. July 15th delivered the breaking point, a right groin injury that ended her year. And August twisted the knife with a bone bruise in her ankle during rehab. What was meant to be her breakout season collapsed into shutdown after shutdown, leaving her with just 13 games played.
I mean, it's a gut punch that basically encompasses an entire season of them. The Fever have lost so many players to injury
but obviously none bigger than Clark. And there was such a wait for this second season after her magnificent rookie season. And then, the anticipation of her possibly coming back, only for that not to happen, takes a lot of air out of the room, obviously takes a lot of energy out of the fans, and is a devastating blow for not just the Fever and the WNBA.
Every stop on that injury timeline came with frustration. The Fever kept slapping day to day on her status, a phrase that sold optimism, tickets, and false hope. But when she returned, it was obvious. Limited minutes, shaky efficiency, and a rhythm that never came. Fans noticed. Reporters questioned whether she was rushed back, even as coach Stephanie White framed the West Coast trip as an evaluation. Her own admission that Clark hadn't done much contact work said it all. She was nowhere near 100%.
Well, because Caitlin Clark fans, I want to say Fever fans, but at this point, so many of you, including myself, has lost faith in everybody involved in leadership and in management and coaching. We've just sort of, I got to tell you, I don't have any more real good things to say about the Fever organization as of now, because I will contend that they have known this was going to happen and they did not want to tell anybody.
That's where the overcompensation fears kicked in. Heal one spot halfway, and the strain just shifts elsewhere, like patching a leaky pipe without fixing the pressure. Clark's groin injury was the classic spillover from her quad, and the cycle rolled on. Yet the messaging stayed relentlessly upbeat. Fans saw her jogging, shooting, laughing with teammates, and assumed she was nearly back. Local outlets echoed the hype, but specialists knew better. Quad and groin injuries linger, and quick returns rarely stick. The optimism only fueled bigger letdowns each time another setback hit.
Clark, a two-time All-Star and the 2024 WNBA Rookie of the Year, has been sidelined suffering a right groin injury during the Fever's 87-77 win over the Connecticut Sun on July 15th. If you guys remember that game, Caitlin Clark put the team on her back in the winding minutes to give the Indiana Fever that lead. Clark also suffered a bone bruise at a later date during her recovery process.
July 15th was the breaking point. In the final minute, Clark went down with a right groin injury, and her season was over. The pattern snapped into focus. Months of rehab and half comebacks that never let her body truly reset. The ankle bruise that followed in rehab was insult to injury, proof of how fragile things had gotten. By then, fans stopped buying the optimistic updates and realized she'd been grinding through a compromised season from the start.
Caitlin has worked so hard throughout this time, doing everything possible to recover and return to the court, but ultimately, time is not on our side, said Indiana Fever COO and GM Amber Cox. While we wait, while we will continue working with Caitlin and provide her with every resource we have available, there is not enough time left in our season for her to safely return, and her long-term health and well-being remains our top priority. We are looking forward to having her back at full strength to start the 2026 season. Clark appeared in 13 games during the regular season, averaging 16.5 points, 8.8 assists, and 5 rebounds per game, while helping lead the team to the 2025 WNBA Commissioners.
Clark's own words erased any illusions. She admitted she spent every day in the gym chasing a return, and when asked how she felt, said, "Disappointed isn't a big enough word." That honesty landed harder than any press release. While the narrative painted her as nearly fine, she was grinding through setbacks that never let her heal. In the end, the truth was blunt. Injuries stacked up, sidelined her, and left the Fever without the one player who had been reshaping the league in real time.
And this is what Caitlin wrote. I had hoped to share a better update, but I will not be returning to play this season. I spent hours in the gym every day with a singular goal of getting back out there. Disappointed isn't a big enough word to describe how I am feeling. I want to thank everyone who had my back through all the uncertainty. This has been incredibly frustrating, but even in the bad, there is good. The way fans continue to show up for me in the Fever brought me so much joy and important perspective. I'm so proud of how this team has only gotten stronger through the adversity this year. Now it's time to close out the season and claim our spot in the playoffs.
And then came the bigger question. As Clark's injuries piled up, fans noticed the pounding she took every game. The league hyped her as the face of women's basketball, but her body cracked under nonstop contact. Why wasn't anyone protecting her? Frustration shifted from the injuries to the officiating and the league's handling of its brightest star. This became a story of on-court bullying, refs under fire, and the WNBA's gamble with its golden goose. Heavy hits kept coming, whistles didn't, and every national broadcast seemed to spark the same outcry. Why was the league's biggest star left to take so much punishment?
I mean, just a hell of a job, y'all. That was a big win. That was a big win. We stacked the deck.
And it was a great team effort to beat DeWanna Bonner in her return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse. Had to feel great for the fans there to see her vanquished and not playing well, and Alyssa Thomas complaining all over the floor. Bonner booed in her return.
Basketball karma hit hard when DeWanna Bonner returned to Indy after quitting the Fever mid-season. She was booed, held to just 4 points, and watched her replacement, Ari McDonald, explode for 27 in a 107 to 101 Fever win without Caitlin Clark. To top it off, Bonner's fiancée, Alyssa Thomas, taunted fans just before the Mercury got cooked. Turns out, karma doesn't miss.
We got to celebrate beating down DeWanna the Scammer Bonner. Cheers, my friend. Cheers, buddy. DeWanna Bonner, I just want to start here. You stink. You stunk it up. You caused all that ruckus. I thought you stopped shooting threes hitting the side of the backboard when you took the Indiana Fever jersey off.
DeWanna Bonner's return to Gainbridge Fieldhouse was no ordinary road game. It was a reckoning. After quitting on the Fever mid-season, fans let her have it with relentless boos and chants of quitter every time she touched the ball. The hostility was raw, personal, and impossible to ignore.
Foul on Sophie Cunningham. That is her first team second. Coming in from Martin Phoenix, number 14.
Even from the bench, sidelined with a groin injury, she cheered wildly as her teammates shut down DeWanna Bonner, especially after a blocked shot and shot clock violation. Her celebration said it all. This team was united, and Bonner's exit clearly still stung.
Bonner battling with Hall. Bonner turns, fades, fires, and leads it way short. Great defense there by Hall. Copper tracks it down and bounces for Bonner, who had her shot blocked. And it's a shot clock violation. Bonner walled off by Hall. And then blocked at the rim. Indiana has that 5-point lead in third.
Alyssa Thomas didn't just sit quietly. She taunted Fever fans all game, even telling them Bonner had joined a real team. But her trash talk backfired fast as the scoreboard flipped against them. What she thought was a power move turned into a public flop. As Alyssa Thomas ramped up her taunts, trying to shield Bonner from the boos, the night unraveled perfectly for Fever fans. Bonner scored just 4 points, grabbed 1 rebound, and watched her real team fall apart. The karma was swift, and the Fever weren't just winning, they were sending a message: quit on us, and we'll make sure you regret it.
Bonner booed in her return, which is to be expected, considering the circumstances in which she left. And the players that have come in for the Fever are much better than Bonner was for them. Ari McDonald has been a revelation. She was great in this one again. And Chloe Bibby looks like a perfect fit. So all in all, Fever fans have to feel pretty damn good about that win.
With Caitlin Clark out, critics expected the Fever to crumble, but Arie McDonald had other plans. Once overlooked, McDonald seized the spotlight, proving Bonner's exit was a blessing in disguise. The former Arizona star wasn't just filling in, she was rewriting the script. Arie McDonald dropped a career-high 27 points, hitting all 10 free throws and playing with fire. She attacked the rim, dished out 4 assists, and brought the grit Bonner never showed in Indy. Phoenix simply couldn't keep up with her speed or heart.
When did you realize you had it kind of going tonight, and what kind of opened up for you? I felt like you were scoring kind of from basically everywhere.
When I seen those 2 threes go in, then I saw how easy it was, like getting into the paint. I'm like, okay, I'm converting. All right, I'm good. Like, let's keep being aggressive, or just keep taking what the defense is giving me.
McDonald had help. Chloe Bibby, on just a 7-day contract, stepped up with 10 key points, sharp shooting, and even snagged a steal. She made every minute count and proved she belonged.
Well, Indiana trailing by 9, trying to pick up the pace here, and Chloe Bibby hits a 3.
In transition, Chloe Bibby's done this a million times in her time at Maryland and in practice.
Sophie Cunningham nailed a clutch 4-point play and totaled 12, while Damiris Dantas added another 12 off the bench, capping it with a slick dream shake that left Alyssa Thomas in the dust.
Mitchell, she's got the 5 fouls. Boston, Cunningham. Yes! And a foul! Sophie Cunningham! Give her 3, and she'll go for 4. Dantas battling, spins, fades, fires, and hits. Bibby, corner 3. Oh, yeah! Cunningham. Yes!
The irony? McDonald and Bibby were signed using the cap space freed by Bonner's exit. Instead of folding without Clark, the Fever found players who actually wanted to be there. Fighters, not fillers. Their chemistry and hustle overwhelmed Phoenix. And just when the Mercury thought they still had a shot, Aaliyah Boston stepped in to crush that hope.
You gotta continue to step, okay? We ain't got no room for sliding back, okay? We no room for slippage. Every day, there's a sense of urgency, okay? I was proud of you guys, the way it was offensive and defensive substitutions, being ready to go with that. Everybody who came in made an impact. We had 5 in double figures, damn near 7. That's really, really good, y'all. I'm proud of you guys. I'm proud of you. Together, 1, 2, 3, together!
With the game still close in the 4th, Aaliyah Boston took over. Already solid with 22 and 12, she exploded for 17 in the final quarter, including a solo 10-0 run that buried the Mercury. This was her moment, and she made sure Phoenix never had a chance.
So too has Arie McDonald, who did not start the season with the Fever, but has really come on strong. Pass inside, it's a bullet. More contact there underneath. Ball hits the ground. Austin has a size advantage here. Wants the clear out, gets the clear out, gets inside, and pushes it home.
Every bucket from Boston was a message. The Fever were more than just Caitlin Clark. She bullied her way to the line, hitting 10 of 13 free throws, finishing through contact, and punishing every Mercury misstep. This was championship energy.
Teams have now erased double-digit deficits. 9:30 to decide a winner. Howard inside, Boston, deep position.
Wow.
Dangerous pass there by McDonald, rescued by Howard. Howard trots inside, left hand off the mark. Boston pulls it down and lays it in. McDonald has just had that look in her eyes here tonight, but it's Boston taking over in the 4th.
No answer.
Boston's dominance in the paint left the Mercury scrambling. They couldn't stop her footwork, her shot creation, or her control of the game. With her 4th straight double-double, A career best, she proved she's no longer just a top pick. She's the franchise anchor, stepping up exactly when it matters most.
Nate Tibbetts.
Only 15 three-point attempts and 6 makes for Phoenix from outside the line.
Boston, step through, lays it in. You can't stop her.
Powers in the paint.
We're still playing without Kelsey Mitchell. She's got the 5 fouls. Boston, Cunningham. Yes! And a foul! Sophie Cunningham!
Gainbridge Fieldhouse erupted with every Aaliyah Boston bucket, the crowd feeding off her dominance in a playoff-like atmosphere. Her fourth quarter surge sealed the 107-101 win, proving the Fever could thrive without Clark. But the drama didn't end at the buzzer. In the postgame, Mercury star Kayla Copper slammed Fever fans for booing Bonner, calling it disrespectful. Her defense of a player who quit mid-season? Tone deaf at best.
I think she handled it well. I don't understand, she's a legend and just all the things that she's done for the league. And just the disrespect, I can't get down with it. They booed her. She didn't say a word to the crowd. People talk some trash to her, but we had her back. But it's just very distasteful for what their fan base is doing as far as when it comes to DB, because it's just like she's just the sweetest soul. And the situation didn't work for her, and that's just not what she wanted or whatever. But it's just, we don't need all of that. It's just unnecessary.
The Fever took the high road. Coach Stephanie White kept the focus on her team's performance, gracefully acknowledging the Bonner situation without fueling the drama. It was a masterclass in professionalism.
You talked a little bit about being happy for DeWanna Bonner, finding a good spot for her. What was your overall thoughts on having her there in the reception tonight?
Yeah, I don't know anything about the reception. I don't hear anything once I'm out on the floor, but it's weird seeing her on the other side. But at the end of the day, basketball is basketball and relationships are relationships.
Aaliyah Boston nailed it with one line. Honestly, that got nothing to do with me. She brushed off the Bonner drama and kept the spotlight on the win, showing the poise and focus of a true championship leader.
What was it like having DeWanna Bonner return to Indiana, and what were your thoughts on the fan reception tonight?
Honestly, that got nothing to do with me. I think DB returned because we were playing Phoenix, and so that happened to be that. The fans just do what they wanted to do, but for us it's about paying attention to what we have to do here, and that was coming in and getting a big win, which we were able to do.
The Fever's calm, mature responses made Copper's complaints look small, exposing a clear cultural gap between the two teams. While Mercury players whined, Indiana kept winning, marking their third straight victory and climbing to 6th in the standings at 15-12. This wasn't just about Clark anymore. The Fever proved they had depth, chemistry, and real playoff potential. Bonner left for something better and got humbled by the very team she ditched. Karma served courtside.
In a previous interview, you talked about struggling throughout the season. So what changed and how are you able to turn the page so that the end of the season went a lot better?
Lexi Hull was on the brink of disappearing from the WNBA spotlight when 2024 began. Once a 6th overall pick and Stanford champion, she now sat buried on Christy Side's bench, watching role players pass her by. The whispers grew louder. Was Hull a future star? Or just another draft bus fading away?
So you have basketball in your genes. Your grandfather played basketball, your dad, and you have a twin sister who you played basketball with growing up. What was it like growing up in that family dynamic?
Well, we have a super competitive family, and having my dad play basketball collegiately, knew that basketball was going to be put in my hands at an early age. But my parents were, super excited about having us try every sport imaginable. So yeah, we grew up, my sister and I, playing a little bit of everything.
Then came the earthquake. Caitlin Clark, a generational talent who didn't just join the Fever, she redefined them. Her game was lightning, her presence pure gravity. Suddenly, Indiana had purpose, fire, and direction. For Lexi Hull, Clark wasn't just a teammate, she was a lifeline.
I think it was important to get to know her off the court because I do think that, connections, getting to know people really play a part in the success of teams.
Hull didn't hold back in interviews with She's for Sports and the Dunker Spot. She revealed how Clark's arrival flipped her career and turned the Fever from a stumbling mess into one of basketball's best stories. This was bigger than her own revival. It was redemption, leadership, and a culture shift that could define Indiana's future.
She's been called the clutch player by WNBA fans, and she was drafted to the W in 2022 with the Indiana Fever in the first round as the 6th pick. I'm talking about professional basketball player Lexi Hull.
The start of 2024 was brutal for Hull. Despite her pedigree, she couldn't break the rotation. Katie Lou Samuelson and Christy Wallace, players with half her upside, were stealing her minutes while she sat sidelined, towel over her shoulders.
At the beginning of the season, my playing time definitely looked different than it did at the end. So trusting that, I was staying ready, putting in the work so that when I did get the minutes out on the court, that I could take full advantage of them. So I was just really proud of myself for trusting the process and staying the course.
The sting was real. From Stanford star to Indiana benchwarmer, the fall was a mental battle just as steep as any physical one.
The basketball part of the transition is really tough. Everybody out on the court was one of the best players on their college teams, definitely the best player likely from their high school team. So it's just this mishmash of the best basketball players, and then you're playing against people that have been there for years and years.
Meanwhile, the Fever were spiraling, opening 1-8 and leaving Indianapolis fans desperate for answers that never came.
We were just sick that we had lost so many games, and also feeling like we were better than that.
Headlines blasted the Fever for bad rotations, weak defense, and zero chemistry. Pressure smothered the locker room, and from the sideline, Hull battled her own doubts as the whole ship seemed ready to sink.
Part of my role is just getting to the open spots, and we have such a good offense that people find the open person. So to be that open person, you get excited. You get excited for the opportunity to shoot and score and be part of the momentum.
But Hull wouldn't let the story end there. She doubled down, sharpening her cuts, fixing her jumper, and staying ready for any chance. Through it all, her teammates' belief in her became fuel, even when the box score said otherwise.
What is it like playing off of Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, and Aaliyah Boston?
I mean, they make my job really easy, right? It's awesome. And it's really cool to see all of them just grow, not only from this year, but playing 3 years with Kelsey, 2 years with Aaliyah. They're so impressive.
Then Clark arrived, and everything flipped. The lights came back on, practices crackled with energy, fans packed arenas, and Indiana went from punchline to must-watch. Clark's edge was contagious, and she made sure everyone rose to her level.
And I think it's really fun because they garner so much attention, obviously, from the other team's defense. So then it allows the other players, me included, to make cuts, make reads, and they're really good at finding, those openings and giving the ball up when it's needed and finding the better shot. So it's really fun, and I feel really lucky to get to play with them.
As Hull laughed, we go up against the guys in practice, and if they're not competing, Caitlin makes sure they do. That wasn't just energy, it was a transformation.
I mean, I definitely got passes and tried to finish when I wasn't expecting to get the ball. So now it's okay, every cut I have, every cut I make, every fast break I run, I have a real opportunity to get the ball, which definitely took me a second. And I think it really just took one of those to really get my head around oh, she's all the way down at the other end of the floor and she could still make the pass to me down at the block at this end. So, it's been awesome.
Clark brought more than star power. She brought a basketball brain on fast forward. Reading defenses like a veteran quarterback, she threaded passes Hull didn't even know were there. She's making passes I didn't think were possible, Hull said. Clark's gravity pulled defenders and opened lanes, turning the Fever's offense from stuck in the mud to humming.
It's so fun to be able to know that you're not just cutting to cut, knowing that you're cutting with the possibility of actually making a really cool play. So that makes it
that much more worthwhile.
Clark's fire was contagious, igniting the roster like wildfire. Doubting players now felt they could compete with anyone. She brought more than points. She brought belief. For Hull, that was everything. Clark's leadership lifted morale and performance in one sweep.
She sees the game at a bigger scale, obviously with the platform that she's created for herself, and then that's transitioned to the game. It's huge. And I think, like, for me, especially as a point guard and as someone that's delivering a lot of the passes that lead to shots, like, if I miss, she's definitely going to say, like, you got the next one. Like, I can count on her for keeping me, like, confident and positive. So yeah, I think that it shows the player that she is and the leader she is as a point guard.
And soon, the results began to show. The Fever started to click, their offense evolving into something fluid, cohesive, and downright dangerous. Every possession carried electricity, every cut and pass carrying real purpose. Hull admitted the game felt different now. Faster, sharper, more thrilling, because she finally had a chance to make a play that mattered. Clark wasn't just scoring, she was orchestrating, pulling the strings, reshaping the floor around her, and giving teammates like Hull the room to shine. Every practice crackled with intensity. Every game carried the weight of possibility. She was more than a star. She was a force, a catalyst, a player capable of rewriting careers in real time. Yet even as the Fever's energy surged, a question lingered in the air, heavy and unspoken. Could this wave of momentum truly turn Indiana's season around? Or was it just a fleeting spark before the storm returned? The answer wouldn't be found in highlights or headlines. It would be forged in the relentless grind, the battles and bruises, the narrow wins and crushing losses waiting in the weeks ahead.
It's going to be a jump. Now here it looked like a jump. There, this looks like a foul to me.
Yeah.
Indiana, and you can see Caitlin saying you were right in front of her.
Caitlin Clark lost it on the refs after Sophie Cunningham got body slammed with no call. It wasn't just a blown whistle, it was a disgrace, exposing everything wrong with WNBA officiating in the Fever's 78-74 win over the Storm.
Like, I'm not saying that your job is easy, but when it is a simple call right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? What are you doing?
What call are you, like, bugged out?
All of them.
Just everything?
Like, it's just like they're just so inconsistent. Like, that's my thing. Like, if you're on the other team and you're going to be found this shit at me,
yeah,
cool. But let me do it to you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You want
Like,
consistency then.
yeah, like just give. And I think that's players across the league and like new fans across the country. Like, everyone's like, what is going on with the refs? And I'm like, I don't know.
Sophie grabbed the rebound and was calmly holding the ball until a Storm player slammed her like it was Sunday Night Football. The ref? Front row seat? Did nothing. Just stood there like he was watching a backyard barbecue.
Now, am I ever advocating for players to throw other players on the ground? No, like we've seen so much of it throughout the WNBA. He watches this happen right in front of him. There's so much contact on the play and he does nothing. He doesn't blow his whistle. He doesn't stop the play. He doesn't call a foul here.
That's when Caitlin Clark, sidelined for the 7th straight game with a groin injury, finally snapped. She'd had enough.
We have updates and our recovery's going well. You know, it's just, I think for us staying the course and making sure that we're really diligent about each step that we take and that we don't have setbacks and that we're patient with it. I know she wants to be out here on the floor. We want her out here on the floor, but making sure that she's ready is the most important thing. I still don't know how far we are. We're going to take it one step at a time, one day at a time, and go from.
She couldn't hold back. You were right in front of her. Why did you change your mind? Clark shouted, her voice echoing through the arena, saying what every fan was thinking. The incompetence was unreal.
I don't even know what the players can do because the players aren't being protected. And I know so many of the times, like, we're talking about this when it comes to the Indiana Fever, but this does happen across the league. There are many plays that we could pull up. Do you guys have any suggestions on what can actually be done? The coaches get fined when they call them out to the media. Like, this is a top-down issue. This is a commissioner's issue.
This officiating mess isn't just a bad night. It's the WNBA's biggest crisis. And Caitlin Clark's outrage? It's become the rallying cry for a league on the brink.
The officiating in the WNBA, I kind of already went off on it, but it's just atrocious. Really, really bad. Like, there have got to be rules to present overt physicality from dominating the game. And that's what we've got. We've got it in the NBA. We've got it in the WNBA. Nobody wants to call a bunch of fouls, but these officials don't know what a foul is and a foul isn't. They can't even tell when a ball goes out of bounds. Like, you've got 2 million plus people watching some of these games. You have got to have a correctly officiated product, or at least confidently officiated product, and competently officiated product.
WNBA officiating is in freefall, and everyone sees it. Blown calls keep stacking up, while Sophie got fined $500 for a TikTok mocking refs. Meanwhile, real hits go unchecked. Commissioner Engelbert shrugged it off. But this isn't about losing, it's about player safety and respect.
This year, it's not just Caitlin Clark. If you wear that Indiana Fever jersey, consider it done. The refs are not going to be fair, and they are going to cheat and do whatever it takes to do what the higher-ups say.
Even the league's biggest names are fed up. Becky Hammond's been losing it publicly. Kelsey Plum shows up to pressers covered in scratches, asking how she got mauled for 40 minutes and only shot 6 free throws.
And I got scratches on my face, I got scratches on my body, and these guards on the other team get these ticky-tack fouls, and I'm sick of it. I get fouled like that every possession. Ricky gets fouled like that in the post all the time, and they don't call it, and I don't know what else to do. Like, it's really frustrating, though. I'm like, I feel, I mean, there's multiple shots at the end of the game, either go into the third, into the fourth, where they're just coming and swinging, and they just don't call anything.
Amid the chaos, one player rose above it all. Sophie Cunningham. She delivered another clutch performance, proving she's the Fever's go-to star with Caitlin Clark still sidelined.
Gabby Williams storms inside, can't finish it, follows it up into the arms of Bibby, just signed for the rest of the season by Indiana. Been a perfect fit at the stretch 4. Cunningham connects on a 3.
And you just look at her frame, 6'6" and super long.
Cunningham connects on another 3.
She lit it up with 17 points on 5 of 6 shooting, including 4 of 5 from deep. And yep, she was the only Fever player to hit a 3 all game.
Big games from Sophie Cunningham, the only player on the Indiana Fever to make her 3 tonight. The Indiana Fever were 4 of 21 from downtown, and Sophie Cunningham hit all 4 of those 3s. 17 points. And the difference between this and the Lynx game, which was Sophie Cunningham's last really good breakout game, this wasn't late. This was, oh, we're struggling offensively. Somebody needs to come through, and Sophie Cunningham came through for us.
Sophie's no fluke. She's been on fire. Dubbed the Blonde Bomber for her clutch 3s, she's thrived since that viral Sun Brawl backing Clark, gaining 800,000 followers and skyrocketing jersey sales.
Sophie the Blonde Bomber, Sophie the Trophy, lit it up again tonight. Man, she has been nothing short of spectacular as of late. 5 of 6 from the floor, 4 of 5 from 3, 3 for 4 from the free throw line, 17 points, 2 assists, 5 rebounds. Sophie, the Blonde Bomber, has been on fire. Sophie stepped it up in a big time way. That is what you need. When your best player is out, you need the ancillary pieces to step up and deliver. And that is what Sophie Cunningham has been doing for them.
Sophie's rise from enforcer to star has been a season highlight. Now the Fever's most reliable scorer, she's a fan favorite. But even her heroics couldn't stop another near collapse of a 12-point lead.
The Fever did everything possible to blow a game, but still come out with the win. That was a near epic level collapse, folks. Wow, it should have never gotten that close. Lexi Hull, Stephanie White waited till the very last minute to put Hull in on defense. She should have been in there from 2 minutes in. 2.5 minutes in on defense. They could not seem to get a big rebound to save their life, and this almost turned into a disaster.
The Fever were rolling, up 55-42 in the third behind Sophie's hot streak. But the moment they relaxed, everything unraveled. It's like they're allergic to success without Clark. Seattle closed the quarter on a 10-2 run, slicing the lead to 4. And just like that, a sure win turned into a full-blown nail-biter.
The Indiana Fever just almost pushed me to a heart attack. The Indiana Fever nearly blow a 12-point fourth quarter lead. We allow the Seattle Storm to go on an 11-0 run in the fourth quarter. Stephanie White, I keep telling y'all, I don't trust her. I'm sorry. We give up a 11-0 run within the last 4 minutes to let this team cut the lead down to 1.
The fourth was all nerves. Seattle cut it to 73-72 with 3 minutes left, and every Fever fan felt the panic. This team just can't close games, and it's costing them.
Boy, they almost blew it. Nonsensical whistles to stop runs, or how about blowing a whistle to stop the other team's run? Coming out in the second half, I will never back off of this. When you come out in the second half and you start losing leads, that is a coaching issue. I don't care what sport you're in. All right? Because what that tells you is the opposing coach went into the second in the halftime, made adjustments. The other team comes out and they start figuring it out. Well, it's up to your coach. It's up to your coach to make adjustments against that adjustment.
The Fever seem to forget how to play once the fourth starts. Kelsey Mitchell had a brutal night. 3 for 16, 0 for 8 from 3, like playing piano with oven mitts. Luckily, Aaliyah Boston stepped up big. She dropped 16 points, 12 boards, and a clutch 9-point run that saved the game.
Kelsey Mitchell could not get it going today, and I told y'all she is a roller coaster. You got to remember, she went off versus the Sky. Then she was, 8 for 24. Then she had a good game. Then she was down again. Then last game she was up. This game she's down again at 3 of 16. This is Kelsey Mitchell. She's a roller coaster. She's a roller coaster. She gave you 9 points on 3 of 16, shooting 0 of 8 from 3.
Here's Boston. Boston, good look inside. Howard lays it in. Nobody in the league at 6'4" or taller averages more assists than Aaliyah Boston. Well, what happens off a deflection from a defensive player if it hits the rim? Shot clock still would reset. It doesn't have to be a shot. As Howard somehow spins that in, busts the foul.
Boston's resurgence came right on time. After struggling without Clark, she's finally back to form, dominating the paint, locking in on defense, and giving the Fever hope. With Sophie handling the scoring, Boston's aggression has become one of the few bright spots in a chaotic season.
I mean, AB's been huge for us. She's really been the key. She came into this league predominantly playing on the low block, getting a lot of post touches when she was in college and her rookie year. And then, last year, her first year with Caitlin, playing a lot in the two-man. And then this year we're asking her to be a facilitator as well. A hub for us on the offensive end of the floor while being more versatile on the defensive end than she probably has ever been. And she's just continued to step up to the challenge and grow and be better. She's really the rock of our team.
Veteran leadership has kept Indiana afloat, and Natasha Howard's been key. She dropped 21 points and became the team's steady anchor amid the chaos. Smart finishes, high IQ, zero ego, just consistent pro-level execution. In a league full of spotlight chasers, Howard's discipline is a rare and needed presence.
Players looking like they need a breather.
Yes.
Cunningham lays it in, going backdoor on Diggins. Well, what happens off a deflection from a defensive player if it hits the rim? Shot clock still would reset. It doesn't have to be a shot. As Howard somehow spins that in, busts the foul.
You see her cutting through the lane. Skylar Diggins is inside, so she's the one left to take the Howard cut. What a tough shot by Natasha Howard.
The Storm had every chance to steal this one, but when it mattered, they crumbled. Skylar Diggins missed 2 wide-open threes, and Gabby Williams' clean look at the buzzer rimmed out. Now 16-13, Seattle's dropped 3 of 4 at home, and with the playoff race tightening, they're running out of time and answers for their late-game collapses.
I'm really proud of you guys. There were so many ways in a close game and in game situation where we grew today that were huge for us, y'all. That will pay dividends. So great job. I'm proud of you guys. Everybody contributed. Everybody came in and gave us a lift. Kels, I know it was a tough shooting day, but the way you facilitated and that one big jumper that you made. We dug in and got stops when we needed to. I mean, big time win, y'all. Big time win.
This was a huge win for Indiana. Now 17th to 12th and 5th in the standings, they own tiebreakers over both Seattle and Vegas, key for the playoff push. Even more impressive? They've won 5 straight without Caitlin Clark and sit 9-7 without her overall. But her return remains a mystery. She showed up in game gear, but didn't play, fueling speculation. With tough matchups ahead and playoff spots on the line, every game and every unanswered question matters.